Hello, this is Ice Heals from welcoming you to Ord Mantell, where we will be going over the basics of the Commando healing spec, formerly known as the Combat Medic. At level 10, we get our first two heals, the Medical Probe and Advanced Medical Probe. Medical Probe costs 18 energy and can be chain cast. Not something I would recommend, as you will quickly deplete your energy doing this. You can generally get about 7 of them off before you are out of energy and unable to cast any more heals. Advanced Medical Probe is a much higher energy cost. It has 20, but it also heals for roughly double your Medical Probe's heal. The problem with it is once used, it goes on cooldown for 9 seconds. As mentioned, we cannot chain cast our heals. We quickly run out of energy. To balance this out, Commando healers have been given two abilities that are very, very nice. First is Medshot. Pretty iconic as a Commando healer as the green beam. As I quickly cast this back and forth again and again, you can see a green beam coming out of my gun. Very, very annoying in a war zone as it quickly identifies where you are and the fact that you're healing. But it is a very, very nice heal because it takes no energy. As you see, I can chain cast it with absolutely no cost. And it does heal for a little bit. What a lot of people will use this for is an energy management tool. You can do two things. Generally most people will do this. Every time you heal, they'll follow it up with a quick med shot. Or what I like to do is when you cast a heal, you can see the cast bar here, but also you can follow the global cooldown on your toolbar below. And if you notice, the global cooldown finishes before my cast does. So I can clip in a second ability onto the end of my channel. So a lot of people will do this to chain cast abilities. So it's a shorter channel time when the first one ends. But to balance out the energy cost of this, what I like to do is a medical probe clipped with a med shot. So 2 heals for the cost of 1. You can do this with the medical probe or an advanced medical probe, as I just did there. The second piece of energy management that the Commando healer has is our supercharged cell, which requires and converts 10 stacks of supercharge, which we have right here. And when we do that, we get a healing increase by 5% for the 12 seconds we have our supercharged cell up, and Advanced Medical Probe has no cooldown and depletes 5 fewer energy. So in theory, I can chain cast Advanced Medical Probe within this window, as it's no longer taking 20 energy but only 15. I have a lot less energy to worry about. I end up here with about half my energy gone. What a lot of people will do is they'll save their supercharged cell for when they see a lot of damage coming out and they know they need to do a lot of healing, and then they'll chain cast their Advanced Medical Probe to counter this. This is effective because your Advanced Medical Probe at top tier gear will crit for around 38k. That's a huge heal, and when you're casting 7 of those, granted not all of them will hit for that much, but still 20 to 38k is a big deal. But as we saw, it's not an effective way to manage your energy. What I like to do is when I get inside my supercharged cell window, I will clip each Advanced Medical Probe, effectively cutting the amount that I can cast in half. So I'll only get 3 or 4 of them off, but I manage the energy a lot more efficiently when I exit my supercharged cell window, and I can keep casting regular abilities as well, because my energy isn't depleted all the way. there's something important to note about the Commando healing energy style. We have 4 arrows here next to our health bar. As we use up our abilities, as we use up our energy, these arrows indicate the rate at which our energy regain is coming per second. At 4 arrows, I recover 5.7 energy per second. This is after all the alacrity I have on my character. I believe the base energy regain is 5 cells per second. So at 4 arrows, I'm at my max energy regain. I suffer diminishing returns though as I use up these arrows. So I want to stay within this 4 arrow range to have the maximum energy regain possible. And I'll go ahead and show you what it looks like when I use up these arrows. So here I've dropped down to 3 and energy starts ticking a lot slower. It takes me longer to get back up. So that's a big issue. As we use up our energy, it gets harder and harder to regain our energy. That's why this rotation is so key. You want to stay at your maximum output for energy regain. And we have a couple tools we can use to stay there. One thing a lot of people will do, especially at early levels, as you don't have all the utilities and skills you learn in your class tree, is once you get to dangerous levels with your energy, you can pop your recharge cell, which effectively puts you right back up at the right level. What it does is it grants 50 energy cells over 3 seconds. Now, this is really nice, but it's also on a rather long cooldown of 1 minute and 45 seconds. This can be detrimental if you depend upon it, so don't build up a reliance upon it. Another thing that a lot of people will do is they'll use their reserve power cell. Now, the reserve power cell makes it to where your next ability depletes no energy cells. So that's really useful. And generally, people will save it for an advanced medical probe. And you want to use it when it's going to deplete 20 energy cells, so you don't have any buffs up on it. That way, you get the full maximum potential out of it. I will sometimes use it within a supercharged cell window when my advanced medical probe only costs 15. That way, I can chain cast a couple extra ones without having to worry about my energy. Or, I'll cast it on a medical probe when I know that my energy is really starting to be important. Now, the rotation that I like to do is dependent on building up stacks of supercharged and filled triage. If you look, there's 2 things that build up there's 2 reasons I like filled triage. One is it takes 3 stacks, which conveniently fits how many medical probes we have to cast to get 10 stacks of supercharged cell. So as you watch, I'll go ahead and do that clip rotation where I do a medical probe with a med shot. And as you see, each medical probe med shot, I'm building up 3 stacks. So here I have my filled triage. I go ahead and use it for a cheap medical probe, and I'll clip that for my 10th stack of supercharge, which then I can go ahead and do my supercharged cell rotation of 1 advanced medical probe clipped with a med shot. And I can generally do about 4 of these before the supercharged cell window ends, leaving me with only 2 advanced medical probes, medical probes before my supercharged cell comes back up. I'll generally cast a 3rd though to get my filled triage back up to 3 and giving me that cheap advanced medical probe again. And you can repeat this rotation all day long. You see my energy goes absolutely nowhere. There's another little hidden benefit to this rotation that I will share with you. If you look in your combat proficiencies, you'll get emergency response at level 28. This is a really key ability for our burst healing. and it affects our back to infusion. What happens is it eliminates all cell usage, so it costs no energy for us to use back to infusion. In addition, each use of back to infusion grants emergency response, which makes your next advanced medical probe activate instantly. Now this is pretty cool. Right there, great burst heal. But also, a really cool thing about this is within my rotation that I just showed you, the cooldowns fit in perfectly. So we'll go ahead and show you. We'll go ahead and build up our 3 stacks of filled triage, leaving us at 9 stacks of supercharged cell. We'll pop our back to infusion for that instant heal, a quick med shot, then we'll hop into our supercharged cell window, where we clip each advanced medical probe with a med shot. 3, and we'll get the 4th in there right there before the window ends. 2 quick medical probes. Alright, 2 stacks. Let's do a 3rd. And advanced medical probe and back to infusion are both up again. And now we'll start this rotation in our cell window all over again. And as you watch, my energy goes absolutely nowhere. I can do this for days. It's an extremely effective way to manage your energy while maintaining some decent burst. Another thing people like to do is within that supercharged cell window, they'll use tech override to get off a couple more instant heals. It doesn't really affect how many heals you can squeeze in there, but what it affects is the heal is on the front part of your global cooldown instead of the tail end of it. So it's a second or two difference in when the heal arrives, but sometimes that's the difference between a dead ally or a alive ally. My favorite thing that they've adjusted to the Commando healing spec is Trauma Probe. Previously, you had 1 Trauma Probe you could deploy. It would have 10 stacks, it would last for 5 minutes, and every time a tank, which generally that's who you would put it on, the tank or a DPS who was pulling aggro, anytime your ally with the Trauma Probe took damage, it would consume a charge of Trauma Probe and heal them. This could happen every 3 seconds. So it's generally about 1,000, 2,000 heals that happen without you having to do it. It's just a passive that'll activate by itself on its own window. What's really cool about it is they reduced how many charges you have on each one, but I can now put it on multiple targets. I can apply it to this Aragon and to myself. I can apply it to everyone in the raid group. Hell, I could apply it to the entire fleet if I wanted. This is really fun to use during significant fights where a lot of raid damage is going out. You'll watch your heals per second go through the roof if you make sure to keep this up on everyone. A second thing that's really cool and iconic about the Commando healing is our burst AoE heals. We have 2 AoE heals, one of which is on a rather short cooldown of only 5 seconds. But the problem with this Colto Bomb is the initial heal only heals 4 targets. Whereas the Colto Residue, which you see this green cloud here, will tick on all 8 people within range of it. The successive treatment, added during 4.0, only heals 4 people as well. But the nice thing about it is not stuck to the ground as our Colto Bomb is. If I run out of my Colto Bomb, I quickly stop receiving heals. Whereas my successive treatment will follow whoever I heal. So they can run around and it'll keep healing them as long as they are within range. The problem with successive treatment is it only heals 1 person for 100% of it. It ticks 4 times, and each tick it will acquire another ally near the person being healed. So what happens is, if I target myself, I will receive the full 100% of the 4 ticks. The second ally that it'll tick on will receive 75%, so 3 ticks. The third person will only receive 50%, 2 ticks of it. And the last person will only get the tail end of it. He'll get that one final tick. You mix those together though with Cult of Bomb and Successive Treatment, and you have an amazing burst hill combination for some AoE damage going out. I'm glad you guys were able to tune in and watch. I hope you all enjoyed and that it was easily presented and understandable. If you have any questions, please look me up in game or post anything in the comments below. You can find me always on the Harbinger doing PvP or raid groups.